Hi everyone! If you've been selected in this year's H-1B lottery, congratulations! There are several changes that you may or may not be aware of, so I'd like to share them with you in this video. One of the first changes that we've seen already through the registration is that we had to disclose the SOC code and the wage level of each beneficiary. So hopefully you did an analysis with a qualified attorney or with your employer to make sure that information on the registration was accurate, because now at the time of filing the LCA, you can't make those changes anymore. So if you said, I'm going to be a marketing analyst wage level 2, you can't come back and say, oh, actually, I'm going to be wage level 1. USCIS is going to be very strict about checking the registration information with the information that's disclosed in the LCA and also in the application. If there are mistakes, that might be a question that comes up. Depending on the level of mistake, you might be able to explain it, but be very wary of any material changes, because this year, the wage level was actually material to whether or not you had an extra entry into the lottery. So if you're maybe upgrading a wage level, maybe that's not as big of a deal as if you're downgrading your wage level. Another difference in this year's H-1B application is that the forms have been updated. If you look at the I-129 form, there's a new form edition for April 1st, 2026. If you look at the H-1B supplement, there are now questions about the SOC code, about the education level, and the experience level, and any skills that might be required, plus anyone that you might need to supervise. You might say, wait a minute, that sounds like a PERM case. I know, that's what I thought as well. But it looks like USCIS, now because there's a tiered wage system for the lottery, they want to ensure that the correct wage level was selected for the beneficiary. And now they really want to know more details about the position formally on a form. In the past, all we had to prove was that a bachelor's degree was the minimum requirement for this position, but now they want to know, is the minimum requirement a bachelor's degree in what field? They want to know, is it a master's degree in a certain field? They want to know, well, you might have a degree requirement, but how many years of experience is required? Why is that relevant? Because the wage levels are actually based on the education and experience level. So wage level 1, as we know, is for entry level. Wage level 2 is with some experience. Wage level 3 is with more experience. And then 4 is like a veteran, right? So you might have supervisory duties for 3 or 4 wage levels. They want to see if you're going to be a supervisor, are you being paid an appropriate wage? Are you actually at that wage level? So this is something new that we've never had to formally disclose before. And this will be also very interesting. You might have the same position for multiple people in one firm. Now you can't say, well, a bachelor's degree in business is allowed, a bachelor's degree in economics is allowed. That might not work anymore, because now there might be comparing H-1B positions with the same title at the same firm and making sure it's uniform. It also might impact the PERM analysis. In the past, when you do a PERM analysis, because it's for a prospective job, we never really had to, we thought about it, but we never had to fully commit to what was the requirement for the H-1B versus the PERM. But now that's something that practitioners are going to have to think about and do the analysis up front. Is this PERM going to be a position for a senior position? Are the wage levels comparatively, does it make sense? You have to really think about not only the individual beneficiary's background, but you have to think about company practices, actual requirements. Are they uniform across the board? So this will require more coordination with Immigration Counsel and making sure that the record makes sense. Another thing to watch out for is travel. A lot of my H-1B candidates, when we file the case, they have questions of, can I go back home for the summer, right? And so if I get questions, for example, from my F1 students, they're in a period of maybe cap gap, their OPT has expired. Now, the travel analysis this year, I would say, if at all possible, stay here. Why? Because of the $100,000 fee. We haven't had clarification yet on whether that entry fee is going to apply for students or for applicants who are applying for a change of status in October, but if they leave and come back, right? So for that purposes, in the past, even if you had a change of status application, you could have gone out to your home country, apply for the H-1B, and enter on your H-1B status 10 days before October 1st, your start date. That might not be the case anymore. You might have to pay for the $100,000 fee. To avoid that, stay here in the U.S., wait for October 1st, your status changes, then you can consider going abroad and applying for your H-1B visa if you need to travel. If you apply for the H-1B based on consular processing, just be aware that you will be required to pay the $100,000 fee. It will come up in your interview with your nearest embassy or consulate, so be prepared for that. Make sure you prepare all the documents because at the consulate interview this year, it might not just be a routine H-1B interview. There might be additional scrutiny on your case. We already know that the State Department is doing vetting, additional vetting for social media. So make sure all of your accounts are made public. And if there's any anti-American sentiment, that could be a problem when you apply for the H-1B visa. There also can be additional discretionary analysis. So make sure you review your DS-160. Treat it very carefully because that DS-160 might control all of your future immigration applications. So make sure all the information on the DS-160 is accurate. You have an employment offer letter, you bring your LCA, you have knowledge of what you're going to be doing. They might ask for a proof of your diploma, your educational background. If the position requires 5 years of experience, who knows? They might be asking about your educational and your experience record to make sure you actually qualify for the position. So we don't know yet, but I do expect a higher scrutiny of visa interviews this year. If you're planning to apply for a part-time H-1B, I would also make sure that you craft that carefully with Immigration Counsel because part-time by nature could mean there's a potential for inflating the wages for the purposes of getting selected in the lottery. So you really want to justify why this position is only part-time, that you're truly going to be working in that position, and that wage level is appropriate to your background and also the position at the company. Also at our firm, we got 50% selection rate. I hear that's pretty common across a lot of law firms because this year there was a deterrent effect from overseas applicants because of the $100,000 entry fee. And then also because of the tiered wage systems, I think for individuals who are not able to meet wage level 1, were not able to apply, or companies decided they didn't even want to invest in the H-1B process this year. For whatever reason, the pool was a lot smaller this year and a lot more applicants were selected. So we're really happy for a lot of our clients who got selected this year. And also, we have a few number of self-petition H-1B for entrepreneurs who've started their own company, who applied for the H-1B and got selected. For these applicants, we want to make sure, again, that there is a bona fide employer-employee relationship between the company and the individual. We want to make sure that their job duties show that their majority of their job duties are going to be in the specialty occupation. They're going to have to prove that the company has ability to pay their wage because it's a startup. But we're excited to see how this new H-1B season goes, and we wish the best of luck to everyone. If you have any questions, or maybe you got selected in the lottery, but you're still looking for a firm or counsel to discuss your case, please feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to help.